Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is that you are joining us. This is the Tulsa World Scene podcast. Uh, Joined today with Lydia Fletcher, our summer intern, and Jimmie Tramel, our perennial pop culture guy. And since I deal with food, and we have a rather big restaurant review this week. We reviewed Momo's Chophouse, which is down south, was in what used to be called the Cardinal Club. Very good if you have a good deal of money and an extremely large appetite. And I was just curious, uh, steakhouses. I mean, I remember when the steakhouse was, Golden Corral and Western Sizzlin and that kind of a thing. And now it's, extremely high end. Are either of you steakhouse connoisseurs, or
I
how
say
about you?
halfway. So what's so fun is I don't eat red meat. I haven't for like 12 years. So when I'm invited out to a steakhouse, I always look at the salads. I always look at the others, the sides. The a la carte menu is my best friend. But then when I was reading the review on this one, I was like, oh, there's so much here I could have. It's like a steakhouse, obviously,
Hmm.
you know. But the review mentions like the New Orleans influence, so then all the seafood. I love seafood. So, that's usually what I go for at a steakhouse. So it is kind of funny whenever I'm invited out to that. Very rarely. I think it was like the meal before prom and like maybe high school graduation and stuff like that. My graduation meal for college, we already know where it's going to be. It's like a semi steakhouse. And so I think it's interesting whenever you see restaurants go beyond the just, steak, potato, and greens. And I think this restaurant definitely does that.
How
It's
about you,
funny.
Jimmie? What?
It's funny you bring this up because just the other day I shared on social media a photo of an ad of sirloin stockade from the I think 1980, and the Monday and Tuesday special was $2.99 steak dinner with all you can eat salad bar. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that was, yeah, that was living high on, I was gonna say the hog, but high on the cow, back in the day. But now, and what you said, Lydia, it is true. More and more, places that are calling themselves, or are, steakhouses or chop houses or however they want to call themselves. Um, the funny thing is that steak is not the major thing on the menu as far as the greatest number of items. The Hemingway, which is another very high-end steakhouse, when it opened, if I remember correctly, there was a total of like 6 steak dishes total, but the menu was packed with stuff. Um, so um, it is kind of interesting that people want to, they may want, they want a fine dining experience, and somebody wants to go to a steakhouse, and that's got a lot of uh, cachet to it, history and that kind of a thing. So,
I walked into the Hemingway with no reservation. And of course,
ah,
they didn't have a table for me. And I said, my name is Abe Froman. And it carried no weight with them whatsoever. If you know Abe Froman from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, that got Ferris a reservation. But I have kind of I get made fun of at steakhouses because I am the well done guy. I don't want my steak bleeding and bloody. Don't bring me a side of blood to go with my steak. I want the sucker I want it to look like a charcoal brick. Bring it to me that way. I'm good that way.
well,
Yeah.
I'm kind of unusual in that usually when I go to a steakhouse, especially for the first time, if it's on the menu, I'll order the pork chops, because I figure if that's a trickier thing to get done properly. I mean, everybody, steak, you know, you can get, there's a tad bit of wiggle room with that, but you screw up a pork chop and it's really bad. So that's the kind of the way how I judge a steakhouse. So, but anyway, well that's what we have coming up this week as our main food review in the Tulsa World, available at fine newsstands everywhere and at tulsaworld.com.
Hey, for people who missed it, what was the name of the restaurant you reviewed?
Momo's Chophouse.
Okay.
It's on South Memorial, about 106th Street. It's kind of you have to kind of look for it, but it is there. It's inside. It's lovely. It's named for the wife of one of the owners or partners, who is also the principal designer of the interior, and it's the only thing that they kept from the original place was the bar area, which has this curved acrylic staircase that lights up at night, that goes up to a private dining area. So I mean, it's a nice atmosphere. The service is really good. So something to check out if you're and if you don't want to, invest in a full dinner, they do have a special bar menu that is no reservation, first come, first serve. Things are a little, it's a more limited menu, but you can have the sort of food that they serve and not, as they say, spend a substantial sum of money. So, all right, I'm just waiting to hear what sort of screams of agony will come from our leaders when I turn in the expense report on this thing. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. That is a bit of the past. What are we looking forward coming up? What are you working on for us this week, Lydia?
This week has been a lot of getting stuff together for next week, which is going to be a lot bigger, but I'm very excited to be featuring 3 business owners that are going to be showing their products at Brahms and a Fair of the Heart market. That's been in Oklahoma for 37 years and 28 years in Tulsa. So it's a long-standing market that it's a 3-day event. It's $12 for unlimited re-entry, which I think is really cool. You don't have to pay for each day. You just pay one of the days and you can go to all 3 if you'd like. If we're talking food, I talked to a fudge maker based out of Claremore. I talked to a woodworker based out of Bixby, and then a kind of bath and body care person based out of Fort Worth. So it's not limited to just Oklahoma businesses. There's about 15 states represented, which is really cool because I personally love supporting small businesses. I always think Shop Small has been one of those campaigns that's been around since I was a kid. That's always something you see, Small Business Saturday and stuff. And so it's cool to see that Tulsa kind of has this infrastructure that supports that. And it's also I get to share a little bit on the personal stories of the creation of these businesses, not just here's what's available. You really do get to know the vendor's story a little bit, which I appreciate.
Is there a charity associated with a Fair of the Heart, or is it
not that I know of? It's that Brahms ice cream shop and everything is
Right.
this big corporate sponsor. So they, I think, help with the organization and the rentals. To my knowledge, it's not associated with a 501c3, but I definitely it kind of gives the vibe that it could be. So I'm definitely going to double check that.
All right. Jimmie, what have you got coming up for us this weekend?
Got a couple of things Friday. Velton Lang from Oklahoma was Conway Twitty's road manager for 25 years, and his daughter, Kelly Lang, became a music artist in her own right. Kelly has a new song coming out Friday, and it was just kind of inspired by her father. I'll leave it at that for people to go and find out the rest of the story. And also Friday, I've seen a new documentary called The League. It's about Negro Leagues baseball, the history, the glory years, and the demise of the Negro Leagues. And it's really fascinating that although integration was the right thing to do for society and for baseball and humanity and all these other reasons, it was the worst thing for the Negro Leagues because all the the leagues collapsed after the star players all went to the major leagues. Really good documentary is coming to AMC, South Roads, and also Circle Cinema. We'll have show times in Friday's paper.
Okay.
Sunday, we've got lots of Woody Guthrie. Woody Guthrie Festival is next week in Okemah. And oh, by the way, time flies. The Woody Guthrie Center in Tulsa is 10 this year. So
Okay. Well, you mentioned the filming at the Circle Cinema. Last week we had a story about you about the Circle Cinema Film Festival. One thing that I'll have for this Sunday is I interviewed one of the student filmmakers who's included in the student shorts program. I don't know if he's the only one, but he has 3 films that will be shown in the course of the festival. Name is J.J. Willis. He's originally from Owasso, and we'll have a story about him and his films and what goes on with that this coming Sunday in the Tulsa World. Well, I think that will probably wrap up for what we have planned for this week. I want to thank you all for taking the time to spend this with us, and we will gladly see you later.
Behave.